Heidi ho, neighbors. It's the Gun Cranks. We're back. I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Weed, along with American Handgunner editor Tom McHale, and special projects or special assignments editor. I don't know what your title is, but Roy Huntington, everybody. I actually just got back from visiting Roy, so we had a great time. But Tom, how are you doing?
I'm a little concerned that you guys talked about me the whole time. I just had this little burning sensation going on in my ears.
And we drew pictures.
I'll get over it.
So.
Tom, if you have a burning sensation in your ears, you need to see a doctor.
That's right, because that's not where the pictures were about. So, yeah.
Well, our topic today is something that is geographically close to me. A lot of folks have heard about this Indiana mall shooting that was thwarted by a good guy with a gun. And I've made it clear I'm in the Indianapolis area, and this also happened. It was on the other side of Indianapolis from me, but I've been to that mall. A young man, I believe he was 22, who was utilizing his ability to carry a firearm under our new constitutional carry law that had just been in place about a week. A knucklehead went into the mall, came out of the bathroom with a rifle. Unfortunately, he killed, I believe, 3 people. And in the span of about 15 seconds, this young man produced his pistol, lit this guy up at, they're saying, around 40 yards, hit 8 of 10 shots, and stopped the attack right there. The mayor of the local community they were in, the suburb, called him a hero. The police chief said he undoubtedly saved many, many lives. This is how it should be done. And of course, the national media has completely kicked it to the curb. But a lot of talk online, and there's even a drill named after it now. So, Tom, how can this be? Because every shooting is, 5 yards and 3.5 seconds and 3 shots? Or that's what it is, right?
Yeah, well, 60% of the time in 100% of the cases at a 73% success rate, all self-defense shootings are at 3 yards.
Yes.
It's statistics. So you can count on it.
Except if you were in Greenwood Park Mall about a week ago. And guys, that's some crazy good shooting. I know a lot of cops couldn't pull that kind of hit percentage at 40 yards. And like that. That's the thing. It takes most people, a while to even go, what's going on here? This young man just went to guns and took care of business. That's how we roll in Indiana, by the way.
You know what jumps out at me? We do this stuff on a range when we're kind of preparing, like, okay, I'm getting ready to buzzer goes off, I'm going to draw and shoot. I'm mentally in the range scenario already when I'm practicing or a competition or whatever, right? This guy's at a mall.
With his
not
girlfriend.
Expecting any of this, and went from 0 to proficient, capable, and effective in a second. That's wow.
And no cop training, no former military. He's just a guy who said his grandfather taught him to shoot. Well, Grandpa, I think you need to get in the industry. Wow.
I think one of the most important lessons here is your ability to perceive and react. It's like the OODA loop, where you observe and decide and then engage, And Jeff Cooper was part of developing the color code, which is white means you're asleep, basically, and then yellow means you're aware of what's going on. Orange means you're focusing on a threat. And he made basically the statement that you can be in yellow mode all the time, and it doesn't wear on you. And that just simply means that you're aware of what's going on around you. And we were chatting a little bit about that beforehand about, I don't like to go to a movie theater. I don't like to go to any place that I can't control what's going on around me. And so he obviously, and it'll be interesting to see if we can get a good interview someday with him, I'm curious to know what his personal background is. Was he personally interested in this kind of stuff? Because like you said, Brent, he reacted with this like super lightning speed awareness, situational awareness. I mean, most people, they hear a gunshot inside, what do they do? Freeze up.
What?
Look around. What's that? Right?
Yeah. Denial.
Yeah.
Failure to believe that something is happening. I mean, think of a fire alarm, right? Yeah. The vast majority of people will go, nah, it's not a fire. It's not, 10 minutes later is still debating whether there's a fire alarm going off,
Well, we've talked about that where when you interview a victim in a crime and you say, well, what happened? And what do they always say? Well, I couldn't believe
Can't
it was
believe
really
it's
happening.
Yeah.
Well, he obviously believed it was really happening. And so kudos to that. I don't know what it is about his genetic makeup, but he just evidently remained calm, had presence of mind, identified the threat, engaged the threat. I mean, my gosh.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
And even reading in local media coverage, because it's still in the media here, not only did he told his girlfriend to get down, he engaged this guy. Once he engaged him, the guy ran back into the bathroom, which my sick sense of humor, I just love that. It's like, ow, ow, ow. They're not supposed to shoot back. Ow. I hope he died a horrible, painful death. But anyway, after the shots, he moved forward, to check on this guy, see where he's going, and he's shooing people out. Get out of here, go. There's a problem. This kid had such a presence of mind, it's just unbelievable. And again, I know a lot of adults, older adults, that with more experience that might not achieve that level of success.
Well,
pretty
he
crazy.
rushed the threat.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh. I mean, cops don't often do that. I mean, we've all been there where, there's a threat on all the cops run toward it, the old adage about run toward gunfire. Well, most, regular people wouldn't do that. They would run and hide but geez, anyway, but shall we address the elephant that's in the room, which is, do we refocus on the fact that, yes, Virginia, you need to shoot at 25 and 40 and 50 and even 100 yards.
Exactly. There's been countless police shootings throughout history where guys with their pistols have had to engage people at 100 yards and put them down. So, yeah, it'll probably be close in, dark, a few shots, but you can't guarantee it. You can't, bet your life on it. And especially in a case like this, the guy's got a rifle and he's shooting people. This guy took out a pistol and engaged him. You need to have that capability. An old mentor of mine said, if they can shoot 50, you got to be able to shoot 100. And that's pretty good advice.
Do you guys remember that case a couple of years ago? I don't remember where it was, but the gist was a police officer was engaged with a suspect, and the guy had the officer kind of, I don't know, it was pinned down, but, stuck behind a car or something, and an armed civilian, assisted the officer. He was 70 yards away and hit this guy, basically, lit him up from a different direction, giving, the officer a boost and the ability to, continue on with this thing. I mean, 70 yards.
I remember that. It was in a trailer park, I think. Yeah, I do recall that. We did an IUB file on a police shooting, Max Scott's police shooting back in the 70s. And he took a running shot at a bad guy at 173 yards with a 4-inch Model 66 357 Magnum. Now, Mac was an old PPC shooter, so, I mean, he at least knew what was going on, and he nailed this guy and put him down.
Yep. Well, you're forgetting, remember the church shooting last year in Texas? Maybe it was last year before. Jack Wilson, the bad guy, was acting crazy. They were keeping an eye on him. He ended up, pulled a shotgun, killed one man, and was coming to the front of the church to probably kill more. And he drew his pistol and headshot the guy at what? That was about 35 yards. Yeah, it was clear from the back of the sanctuary to the front, and one shot, down bad guy goes. So, don't tell a guy in that situation, well, it'll only be 5 yards, quick time frame kind of thing. Don't worry about getting those targets out at 25.
I equate this to wearing an ankle weight. If you wear an ankle weight, and then when you take it off, you can run faster and jump higher, right? Because it's easy. If I shoot 50 at 100 yards with pistols all the time out here, and I have to say, then when you're presented with a 5 or 10 yard target, it looks like the side of a barn. I mean, you think, this is easy,
Baseball hitters use a weight ring for a reason when they're warming up, right?
Yeah,
Same concept.
Exactly.
So if you can control your trigger at 25 yards or 40 yards or 50 yards, well then, you're really going to do better up close and fast. So.
To wrap this up, guys, the takeaways: shoot at distance, be aware, and something we didn't talk about, but this kid, I call him a kid, sorry, but this guy had obviously thought this through. He wasn't making this up on the fly, because in the middle of that stuff, you can't make complex plans. He's had to come up with, at least, if this happens, I'm going to do this. And he executed perfectly. Again, we ought to take lessons and What a great job. So again, 2 thumbs up, golden arrow, gold star. That's the way to handle it. I don't care what the national media says or mom's demand. That lady was upset because he was in a gun-free zone with a gun too. Ma'am, Shannon, you're constipated. You need to shut up. There, I said it.
I want to comment on that because that's the most important thing going through my mind is this is exactly what puts a stop to this nonsense. You know, the overwhelming majority of these idiots go to gun-free zones, right? Because, and this is getting to my point, because they know they can own that real estate for a period of time. Usually, you know, if you look at all the figures, 9 to 12 minutes minimum, right? When they start figuring out that they can no longer own these spaces for 9 to 12 minutes and they're going to get taken down after a shot or 2 or 3, guess what? The appeal of being, you know, some sick and demented hero, you know, in that community disappears.
Exactly. Well said. Well, guys, this has been interesting, and I happen to know this young man's attorney, and once the shouting dies down, I'm going to do my best to interview him and find out exactly what it looked like from his side of things. But I'm sure that'll take a little while before everything's all said and done. But anyway, let us know down in the comments your thoughts on active shooters and shooting active shooters in the face at 40 yards and stopping this kind of carnage, and just anything else you want to talk about. Hey, Tom, we've got DIY and some other special editions out there. Talk briefly about that.
Yeah, well, that's second up from now. Next one is the Old West Special Edition, so keep your eyes open for that, coming out in several weeks. And then right on the heels of that, we have our ever-popular DIY coming again. We do have a relatively new one out now, so visit AmericanHandgunner.com or GunsMagazine.com, and you can find more info on those.
Exactly, and don't forget AmericanCop.com for the more tactical side of things. And of course, I have this little podcast that is zooming to the top of the popularity charts, the Guns Magazine podcast. So, gentlemen, it was great to talk about this. We're all very passionate about it. And for the folks in the audience, if you're walking out the door and you think, I don't need to take a gun, I'm just going to the mall, things have gotten to the point you need to put that gun on and go. So anyway, on behalf of American Handgunner editor Tom McHale and Roy Huntington, our special projects editor, I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat. We'll see you next episode.